will be the part of this particular initiative as a mentor
Yes.
and as a board member. So that's why I want you to evaluate and come up on board as a financial advisor, legal advisor, the thing, like you know the sources, right?
So as a resource, I look at Club Inspiring Million as a resource. The way you described it is ideal. So you exist as a network of opportunities, resources that will help the college students or anyone desiring to get into business know where to go to get the support and the assistance that they need. If that support and assistance includes financial support, then there has to be a mechanism in place that allows the organization to generate the income, generate the revenue, to be able to meet the needs of those aspiring members who desires to avail themselves of the assistance that's being offered by Club Inspiring Millions. So there is both a government opportunity, a corporate opportunity, and then of course the resources that you develop from within that can help promote those resources so that you can be of service and support to interested entrepreneurs.
Yes, fine. So let me talk more about the South Zone college students. No, they need a lot of trainings, not only for entrepreneurship and not only for startups, for career building, soft skills, public speaking, everything, each and every segment. So whereas we are planning to go for a big scale, because every college, in each and every college, we have around 6,000 to 7,000 students. We have connected around 25 plus countries and almost 50 plus guests. So we are planning to club all these associates, into a particular forum to share the resources and energies at a very nominal charges. Like, let's talk about not the industry size. It's very big, very, very big in the sense like, think about 100,000 educational organizations. Each organization has around 7,000 students, plus or minus. Some has 4, some has 3, and certain schools in southern part of Tamil Nadu nurturing entrepreneurship, even in schools. Whereas here in this particular college, we have a very beautiful coordinator. His name is Mr. Dr. Ramani, and he took this initiative to make a global opportunity. Whereas, he took this initiative out of his own by following us for 1 year, analyzing, understanding our network strength, and after that he was contacting us and making this event happen. So that's how they have the sources. So these are the key points, whereas we are getting involved. Rightly said, everything involves finance, like flying charges, transportation, food, accommodation, ticketing, students, inspection, everything. So that's why we are planning to do some fundraising events.
Yeah, the fund, once you target specifically on the fundraising objective and the fundraising initiative, it is easier for you to market the intentions of the fundraising initiative. What is it that you want to do with the acquisition of this money? How is it going to help? How will you sustain the support and assistance that you hope to deliver and render as a result of your offering? So the key part of this, Anand, is to find legitimate investors who are understanding of your message, understanding of the desires that you're creating to help college students or anyone else that wants to aspire to own and operate their own business, what resources you offer, how they can invest in Club Inspiring Millions so that they can be part of a solution, and being part of that solution can as well help others through their own investment. And the thing you're suggesting about minimal investment on the part, for example, on my part, if I desire to seek that knowledge, is expected. Nothing comes for nothing. We grow together as a result of mutual investment, mutual interest in one another. So if you offer a program, the program shouldn't be for free all the time. Yes, there'll be opportunities and occasions where you'll offer something for free, but there should be a personal investment. If you're going to soar like an eagle, you have to look at yourself as that kind of a person that's unique and that's willing to make a personal investment in one's own growth, one's own business success, one's business growth and development.
Yeah, and to add this point, in my college days, each and every college, still now, they are supposed to conduct some events in the sense like culturals, fest, aqua fest, edu fest, whereas we students will travel to the local zone to get sponsors like 10,000, 100,000, 200,000. Whereas I'll calculate, in the year 2005 to 2009, I did my engineering. I've just raised 15 lakh Indian rupees, plus or minus. I'll just try to calculate that and I'll let you know. It's a huge amount of money. In my college days, I have raised by going to the Suzuki showroom and talking to them like we are a college student and we are having some programs. You can display your Suzuki, bikes, in our college, sponsor us. And Oppo, I went for Oppo recently for a college program. Oppo, and they sponsored us some reasonable amount of money for conducting job fairs. So
Yes.
whereas we need to organize these type of students in a connected manner to go to the site properly, and as you very pointedly, very well said, to find the right investors. Each and every zone have potential investors. Let's talk about Royal Enfield. Hope you know that it's like something like Harley Davidson in India, Royal Enfield. Whereas it's like men's brand of driving that vehicle. Whereas we can approach those for some reasonable transactions of business. So these are the ideas which we have. And right now on this particular live conversation, we are announcing these kind of ideas and concepts live.
Yeah, but Anand, I wanna say that enthusiasm and excitement is important. But what we have to have is a vision that clearly identifies the intentions of the club Inspiring Millions. What is it that you're doing? Why are you doing it? And how you can help. And so this way you can define what it is that you're doing, and then you can lay out expectations. And those of us that come on board have to be willing to participate to help grow the mission of the organization. If it includes raising funds, they have to understand that that's part of their goal and their objective, and that's part of what makes the organization grow. So the clearer that you are with your message, the more willing people will be, as you were, to participate and volunteer their time and their energies and their monies to see something that has viable opportunity, growth, and well-being for others. So the excitement part is good, the enthusiasm is good. Now comes the credibility. You have it because you've done it. So you could be a good mentor to the students in saying, this is what I've done, and this is a success that I derive for what I've done, in building the credibility necessary to attract others to want to come on board. So that's going to be critically important, that we have credibility, and that credibility is based on sound design and sound construction, so that there's appeal and attraction. And those that are invested in huge sums of money, like Yamaha, Apple, and other organizations, can see what you're doing as inspirational and critically important to the growth and development of our young people who want to aspire into their own businesses one day.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Wonderful. And to add that, let's talk about entrepreneurship, cell, entrepreneurship development cell. Each and every college holds. Whereas the point.
Anand, excuse. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Felix and other guests to this program. You may not be knowing that Mr. Professor Jayamani is a good businessman. He's not only a professor, he's a good businessman also.
Oh, yes.
Got good overseas experience also. So there are such personalities in this group, and we have got a few students who are doing some business. So the purpose of this particular seminar is to open up their mind that the business is not to be locally oriented, it could be internationally expanded. So that type of mindset could be created with this particular seminar. So I think we should ask our students and staff members who have got some experience in a business. So they will be raising some questions. So Mr. Felix would be pleased to answer all those things. Thank you.
No, it's thanks for the redirection. I agree with you. There has to be a focus. Whatever you do has to be grounded in a focus. Beyond college, what do I want to do beyond college? or after college, what do I want to do? There has to be an investment and an understanding of what type of business it is that you want to form and develop. And why do you want to form and develop this business? Do you bring expertise? Are you desiring to enter into this business because you see it as an opportunity, but you don't have the resources, you don't have the expertise? Well, where do you go to get the resources, and where do you go to get the expertise? And of course, here in the United States, there's the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and there are a host of other organizations that I'm sure that exist in India that are established to help people like me when I started 20 years ago develop my roadmap to my plan, my growth and development plan, the acquisition of money, how to manage my business. I started out in New York City. I started out on Long Island, and I grew from New York City to New Jersey, to Connecticut, to Georgia. And here I am in North Carolina. That takes a plan. That takes looking beyond where you are. That takes a commitment, an investment that helps you understand why you're doing this. You have to be a visionary. You can't, I would say we can't expect others to do for us what we need to do for ourselves before others can recognize how serious we are about our own commitment, our own investment. Does that make sense? Did I lose you?
Yes, sir, I'm
Does that
audible.
make-
Yeah. Ramani, sir,
Yeah.
are you on mic?
We can ask Professor Jayamani sir on
Yes,
his
sir. Yes,
experience
sir.
and can ask the students to post questions. Professor Jayamani.
Yes, sir. Sir, I would like to ask Mr. Felix a question. Like,
Yes.
yeah, great. Can you give us some inputs on the emerging sectors? Like, we have, like around 300 plus students. Like, some of them are watching the live stream and all. They are at the stage of finalizing their potential area. Like, they are some are getting into real estate sector. Some are getting into technology oriented. I mean, they are at the verge of choosing their paths basically. So can you throw us some light on the emerging sectors? Probably those could be the future of, those could be the future for the next 2-3 decades. Like if people choose this sector, it will be very bright for them. If you can give us some inputs
Yes.
on those areas, it will be good, sir.
Yes, of course. Thank you. And and I'll do my best.
Yes.
So if I understand the question, you're asking me to shed some light on potential business opportunities that have viability.
Exactly.
And I will say that IT, information technology, is forever going to be a growing business venture for anyone to consider. Cybersecurity, as it relates to information technology, is huge and will continue to grow. Medical technology, as you can see from this pandemic, is another aspiration and aspiring field for opportunities. Those areas in the technologies communities need to not be dismissed as too difficult or too hard to attain. We need to do our research, and we need to understand that we should invest in businesses that have longevity and that can have the opportunity for a return on the investment of our time and of our money. Technology, information technology, computer sciences, medical services, not necessarily becoming a doctor, but certainly technology systems that provide the medical community those capabilities are huge business endeavors that have a tremendous return on the investment. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that's great. So
Thank
how
you.
about going for fundraising and all? Like many of the startups, they face financial crunches, at the very start, like within 3 to 6 months, they are fighting to, they are fighting for their survival and all. And over a period of time, they give up. We have seen plenty of startups in the country. They gave a very big bang at the end, at the start, but within a year or something, they vanish. How to
Oh,
cope
yes.
up with these kind of challenges?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. A startup or a business entrepreneur is an investment in yourself. It's part of growth and your development. Yes, in the United States, it is projected and it is estimated that all startups that go through the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year will go through their own growth challenges. Some will never get beyond the first year. Some will never get beyond the second year. And many of them disappear by the third year. Why? Because it's not about just fundraising. It's about attracting clients to buy your products, to buy your services, so that you can reinvest the revenue generated into the acquisition of new products and the possibility of you selling your services. It isn't about fundraising per se. The fundraising really translates to how much of an investment you've made into your business, either financially from your own opportunities or from the revenue generation from clients. So it's a difficult and hard to sustain venture if you're looking at it from the outside and not looking at it from the inside out. You have to be the creative energy. You have to know what's expected of you. You have to know how to market your products and how to market your products and how to make your products sustainable so that the competition doesn't put you out of business and your market sees you attractive.
Well, that was wonderfully explained, sir. And from the student side, we always get this question. Like some of the students, who want to start a business or something right after their graduation. They most of the times have this challenge, because they are basically having only the bookish knowledge, what they gain from the classrooms and all. They don't have any, on the job training or anything, experience or anything. So what would you suggest? Would you suggest people to go for a job, learn the job, and then start getting into business, or would you recommend to right away get into the business and start learning stuff?
I want to be clear because it's very important, and that's a great question. You don't start a business because you want to start a business. You have to have a business concept, a business model. You have to have a business concept and a business model that is acquired from skills, from experience, from expertise. Bill Gates had a business model as a teenager that he designed in his garage, in his mom and dad's garage. And then he grew a business from the development of that business model and concept into what we know today with the iPhone and, of course, and other things that he's done. So unless you're going to go on to an MBA program where you're going to get the business development skills that will help you be more marketable, and then maybe work for a consulting organization or a company hires you for those business skills that you have, you're going to have to get the experience. To be honest with you, you just can't start a business without experience, without any market knowledge, how to market yourself, how to market the product that you're offering to sell. No one is going to buy just because you have a shingle that says Nader Associates. For example, when Nader Associates was established, I spent an entire year doing research on the market. Was there a need? Was there interest? Was there anyone going to buy my services? Did I have credibility? And fortunately for me, I had credibility based upon my prior history as a United States Postal Inspector. So my expertise and my experience enabled me to develop my business around my expertise and my experience. Do you understand the importance? You don't acquire expertise and experience out of college. You acquire the experience by working alongside somebody else who has the experience and expertise that you want to acquire, so that then you can start your own business down the road, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 3 years, or maybe even later. So it's not something that happens instantaneously after college. You can join an idea like Club Aspiring Millions and get to know people, market yourself within that circle, in that community, expand your capacities to be recognized for what you want to do, build some relationships, and then get the experience that you need to be able to say, I finally have my business, finally. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. That was wonderfully answered. And students, do you have any questions? You can ask, sir, or you can also post it in the chat box. We'll read it for you.
So as they're thinking about the questions, I want to say this: get a piece of paper to the students. Get a piece of paper, and almost design a vision board, a vision of the kind of business you want, the kind of business you want. What is that business going to do? What services, if any, are they going to offer? How will you have employees? Will you not have employees? Because when you get out of college, you're going to have subsistence, financial subsistence, to be able to buy the products, store the products, to be able to hire employees, and provides for the health benefits and the services that are typically required to maintain those employees as gainful employees. So look at the kind of business, how you're going to sustain the business. If there's resources, how much do you have available so that it could be a backup plan for you? Really have a roadmap of that vision that you want to eventually call a club aspiring 100 million associates as part of your organization. Know what you want and know how you're going to get there. Have that business mindset that you're not going to have a successful business overnight. You have to invest in that business. Time, resources, energy, networking, socializing, giving your services and your time away. Investing in yourself, but not getting paid for it. It's a lot of a commitment that you have to identify as necessities in growing your business.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
In the meanwhile, students can post, your questions in a chat box. That would be great for, our guest to address.
Okay.
And talking about investments, I was doing a research about few companies. There is an app, you can Google it and you can know about Cred. It's like Cred app. As Dr. Jaimanis has said about investments, like a lot of startups fail in a period of 1 to 2 years due to, a pressure of not having funds or, finance mismanagements, not having a team, not having a proper network, not having a proper sales idea or customers or the entire thing. But these type of people and earlier, my point is like exposure in India, as you said, we have some lot of bodies like MSME, medium and small micro enterprises are there here. Government, is supporting this kind of initiative. All the students want to get more exposure about what kind of sources we can get. Example, earlier, a lot of investment pitch shows overseas was very successful. Right now, that came to India as well. I'm talking about
Yes.
Dragon's Den, Shark Tank, Dragon's Den. And whereas all the investors are very much urging to invest on more startups. Whereas every business has their own set of saturation level and exit strategies. Whereas all these investors, all these sharks are ready to invest on multiple business ideas. Whereas huge millions and millions of dollars was lost on Cred. Whereas after that, they're going for the next seed round and they just got huge investments. Let's talk about Uber. We have Ola. Let's talk about Swiggy. We have Zomato, delivery. Lot of things came in. And my point is and you would have heard about Massachusetts, MIT. And here in India, we call IIT. These are the top-notch colleges. According to my point, they have the close network to get, the funds they want. Whereas all other areas, all other multiple states do have potential ideas. And I was very curious to know why all this Stanford, Massachusetts, IIT, and all these bigger organizations grow big in entrepreneurial effects. Whereas we have certain policies and it's hard for us. My point is like network. I always believe that my network is my net worth and my contract is all about from my contacts.
Right. That's right. Exactly. Let me keep it going. Let me get my my power source. I think I'm running out of power here. I'll be right back. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Jayamani, sir.
Yes, sir, please.
சார் இப்பதான் சார் இன்ட்ரோடக்ஷன் கொடுத்தாரு சார். சார் உங்களோட பர்சனல் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் அண்ட் பீயிங் பிசினஸ் மேன், நீங்க எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு நிறைய கண்ட்ரிஸ் டிராவல் பண்ணிருக்கீங்கன்னு சொன்னார் சார்.
I'm not a businessman. I want to make it clear. My wife is running business. I was earlier into industry. I was earlier into travel industry. For 5 years, I was with 2-3 organizations, travel-related organizations in Chennai, and 2 years I was working for a Singapore-based company as a business development executive. So part of my profession, I used to travel a lot, like 10, 12 trips in a year. So I've traveled to about 60-70 times to over like 13-14 countries. Yeah.
That's why this knowledge comes from. Because
exactly. And along with the knowledge comes the exposure. And along with the exposure comes contacts. And along with those contacts comes opportunities for people to like your product, like your service, and like you. And if they like you and they like what you have to offer, they might even invest in your company, or they might become partners in your company. But you have to market yourself, and marketing takes money. Marketing means getting on a plane and going to where the prospects are. Marketing means going and getting in front of a major corporation to present your product and your services, and that's going to come out, out of your expenses, out of your pocket. So I appreciate what was just said, that it's important for you to acquire the experience by going out and working for someone else in that environment and acquiring the experience. So yes, I agree.
True. Actually, like for us, like people in travel industry, for you to learn the product itself, it is very difficult. It will take at least 2 years of your time. So you go work for somebody, do make mistake in their money, like learn the job and then start your own business. Otherwise, if you jump right away, it will cost you a lot of money. Actually, like it will teach you hard lessons. So that's what
it doesn't. That's right. It's not a good business decision, nor is it a good family decision to take the money out of the bank to throw it into a business idea that is not backed by experience or expertise or funding or support and assistance. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. There is a question from.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a question from a student. Is asking, at the initial stages, what should be given more importance? Like what?
In the initial stages, the business development plan is very important. The business development plan allows you, it's your roadmap. It talks about what it is you want to do, how you going to do it, what resources, what type of a business are you going to be. So the marketing plan is very important. So the business plan is very important. After you have the business plan, and by the way, it doesn't have to be a very lengthy document. It could be 1 page, 2 pages, but it has to lay out your roadmap of your business model and your business concept, and how you're going to grow it and how you're going to sustain it. And then there's another plan that's called the marketing plan. And the marketing plan is how you intend to get your product or your service in front of potential prospects who might be interested in buying your product or your services. Okay?
Yes, loud and clear. One more question from Kavya Street. I think I have some little bit of idea about it. It's not like 2 years,
Right.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, there's a question from Kavya Street. If we didn't get a chance to take the principal amount within 2 years, is it okay to move on with that idea, or otherwise it's time to put some more ideas for more profit?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. So you have to have a business mindset, and you have to be committed to your business model. If you have a business idea, you have to be committed to that business idea. So for example, if you graduate college with a business degree and you want to establish a consulting practice in business. You have the fundamentals of the business degree, but now you need to invest in yourself and get the necessary experience and expertise by working in that environment so that you can test the experience against your education in that rich environment that allows you to see all of the nuances and all of the critical things that you're going to need to know before you step out onto your own. And oh, by the way, stepping out onto your own after a 4-year degree may not be in your second year, your third year, or your fourth year. It could be into your fifth or sixth year. But whatever the time duration, it's got to be predicated on you having acquired an understanding of what it takes to grow your business as an entrepreneur.
Really great,
Okay.
sir. Yes, loud and clear. And is there any questions from the students? No, please feel free to drop.
Now, as a resource, you and the universities are in a great posture to collaborate, forming think tanks, forming relationships that will bring and attract in those kinds of business development gurus, business development experts that could be part of the business continuation educational program offered by the university and sponsored by Club Inspiring Millions, or resourced through Clubs Inspiring Millions as a result of fundraising capacities or investments in you as a non-for-profit that will allow you to give of yourself financially to help others.
Thank you, sir. It's been wonderful. We have a question from Mr. Arul Prakash. And the question is, what are the things you had done in your initial days in business to be a successful entrepreneur? How did you overcome those problems?
Yes, very good. So I'll start out with the problem. The problem that we all have, is the problem called competitors, competition. So remember I said it took me a year before I decided that I wanted to formalize my business. It was exhaustive in terms of the research and the analysis that I did. I had to identify who else was in the business environment that I wanted to be in, find out specifically what kind of services that they were offering, and then compare the services to what I intended to deliver in terms of a competitive analysis, and then take a chance that my appeal and my attraction based upon who I am as an individual, what I've done from the expertise acquisition perspective in my prior employment, how much credibility I have in the presentation of that product, and how much I'm willing to travel to get in front of potential prospects. So the problems are huge when you start out. Now, you can look forward to 20 years down the road when people know your name and they trust the name and they trust your reputation. But those first 5 years, there's going to be a tremendous amount of reinvestment in the knowledge you've acquired to grow that knowledge, expand that knowledge, increase your capacity, build your relationships with the banks, with networking organizations, with even your competitors, because you may want to work projects with your competitors in areas where they don't have the skill sets that you have. So there's a lot to overcome, a lot to manage, but it can be done. It can be done through due diligence, drive, determination, and desires and commitment. How is that a rule?
Yes, it sounds good. And we have another question from another student. Hello, sir. Myself, okay. Dhanush. Expanding the business on a time can also make a small damage to the successful running of the business.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Expanding the business on time can also make a small damage to the successful running of the business.
I understand. Yeah. Making Dinesh needs to know that getting into business is soul searching. It requires you to really, really dig deep, and using that piece of paper, that one sheet of piece of paper that I asked you as part of your brainstorming, is to be honest with yourself. How much money do I have? How much commitment do I have? How much support do I have from my family? for my wife, for my husband, to make that commitment and make that investment, because all those are hurdles and obstacles that are going to drain you mentally, drain you emotionally, and drain you physically. And you're going to despair if you don't see the immediate results. And oh, by the way, again, Anand, the results aren't immediate. The results are not at all immediate. You're gonna, after you exhaust your family contacts and your friend contacts, now you're gonna have to go out in the real world and grow your own business, grow your own credibility, grow your own reputation. Because once the family stops buying from you, and once your immediate friends stop recommending you, where does the next client comes from? It comes from you having built that credibility and that business attraction.
Yes, very clear. And we have another question. It's kind of an exciting question for me as well. Good morning, sir. This is Vigneshwari. Can you share your ideas and experience about to start business in abroad countries, and what kind of problems should we face and how to overcome those problems?
Okay. Let's take a physical location. Let's say you have a lot of money, and the money allows you sufficiency to be able to buy a building. Within that building, you're going to have insurance. You're going to have property and premises insurance, maybe. You're going to have security, either technology security or personnel security. You're going to have all the infrastructure necessary to get that building operating the way you need for it to be operating to sustain your business. That's a huge part of it. Investing in the business operations, investing in the business necessities that allow your workforce to come in, and that you have to hire so they can come into the building and have ready to go office space with technology, communications technology, all the operational necessities that they need. So it's a huge investment from the physical building perspective. It's not as a huge of an investment from the consulting perspective, or if you're operating from home. But if you make that commitment to get into the commercial world where you're going to invest in property, it's a huge financial investment on.
Yes, loud and clear. And it was a wonderful kind of a Q&A session. It makes me more excited, and that too, it fits you. You'll be literally giving a lot of energies. And I was inviting Caroline ma'am for this particular program as well. And I think she's in UK time zone and she's having some other work commitments, or else she would have dropped in here. Please have some conversation there. And my point is like very simple. Not every business is not like a night job, like one night opening up and big, not like that. It takes decades and decades of hard work, loss of money, we need to hit the rock bottom. Coming out of that, only very few is coming out. Example, Mrs. Charul, yesterday's guest. She was like very, very, very professional, and she's doing all over. And my point is like, the more we travel, the more we get knowledge outside India. I'm talking about especially outside India, and whereas inside India as well, we know about the culture, the business, aspects, the business models, and how they work and operate, how these country laws. Because one of the madam was asking like expanding the business outside India. Middle East has certain values, because they drag in more investors because they have a lot of duty free things and no tax for some operations and all kind of things. So it's like tourism all the way. Like the more investments they pull into their country, the country economy grow. So this is very simple. According to my point, is like no business is like a single day kind of a thing. It will take lot of years and things. That's what I learned from all you peoples.
Exactly. That's a very good point, Anand. No business is an overnight success. None whatsoever. It takes years and years of hard work, due diligence, and personal commitments, time away from home, on the road a lot, building relationships, and giving so much of yourself that you are actually at several roadblocks of deciding whether to give up because you can't go anymore. It is not easy. But let me suggest this. If like, for example, if there's someone if one of the students has access to a huge amount of money, and they're willing to invest in other people, whether it be England, France, or the United States, they can get into conversations with successful entrepreneurs, hypothetically, with someone like me who has, say, a successful business, and they want to become part of that business. They can have a relationship wherein they begin a discussion that talks about partnerships. All right, talks about, so you can invest in that individual's business and become that individual's partner. And then at a time and point when the individual, the original owner, could say, well, you know what, you've done a great job and you've helped me grow my business financially and you have learned your business. Why don't you buy me, consider buying me out and the business will be yours. So there are alternative opportunities that can be researched and checked out that would be just as viable as going out there and starting your own. So you can invest in others or you can learn from others.
Wonderful. And to have when you talk about traveling, it's hard to find a strong and dedicated partner to by your shoulders. It is not easy to travel 3,500 plus kilometers within 4 to 5 days by road. Whereas myself and my partner Preeti, we did to make more leads and more prospectors. It was like really, a nightmare. Traveling, down south by road without any ambience, external ambience light, and being, all kind of hurdles are there. Why I'm just, mentioning is like it's not like a cakewalk, like dropping in and doing in and having some leads, or just like that by giving a reference. It took years and years to build a strong relationship. Whereas Caroline ma'am was very clear, very, very clear, and she is having a top notch people from UK, even with the London Real TV as well. But the point is, she was very straight. She will not get all the people. She looked for quality. And one more person from Kerala, his name is Shine Gopal, and I'll share his profile to you as well. He's a businessman, and he is constructing an international incubation center on his own in towards this particular Coimbatore. There's a state called Kerala, and he's from that particular place, and he's doing that. And he's a contact of ma'am's, and she was telling about how you both met through tweeting,
Yes.
and it's all about building relationship, and that too, by a lot of ups and downs, everything. It's not like a cakewalk. Like it's not like coming in, dropping in, and saying, because in Middle East, the people's operate in a different mode. If you have good contacts, you can take contracts.
That's
Only
right.
contracts.
That's right. So Anand, you raised a very, very good point. So social media got me started. Social media was a way, with my existing credibility, my existing expertise and my experience from my prior years in my other career, helped people appreciate the value that I could offer. And social media saw me way back then, saw me as a resource they had never seen before, never heard before, and they were curious. So curiosity opened opportunities for me, wherein people who got to know me after seeing me on Twitter, seeing me on LinkedIn, actually promoted me, actually hired me, actually invited me to be guest speakers at their conferences. So I got a lot of traction from social media. That is a resource and a tool that you may want to consider pushing as a way of marketing one's services and one's products to the world that they would have to travel to get in front of someone who would ultimately want to buy their services. So that's a very good point. That Carol and I met through Skype about almost 10 years ago.
I think his mobile got held up. I think. Give me a minute, so I'll just check with it. And in the meanwhile, students, you can post your questions. It's really great to see all you people's getting engaged and asking your questions. That's really great. Thank you, Mr. Ajit Kumar. Thank you, Vigneshwari ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Dhanush. Thank you, Mr. Arul Prakash. Thank you, Mr. Kavya Sri. Thank you, Mr. Arul Prakash. Thank you, everyone. And give me a minute. Let me try to check. Preeti ma'am, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Ma'am, you just please check with a guest through WhatsApp or something like that.
Yeah, doing it, doing it.
Fine. I think Prakash is- And it's always great to have some conversation with Mr. Felix as always.
I think his phone got, yeah,
Yeah,
he came back.
fine, fine. I just want the host, Tamilnadu Science Forum, to give access to Mr. Felix.
Okay. Anand, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Anand? Okay, great, great. So I apologize to you. So Carolyn Williams was very helpful in creating opportunities, helping me recognize my own weaknesses on social media. She was helpful in promoting my brand and creating my brand identity. So I give Carolyn Williams a lot of credit for building my online media reputation. So there's a lot to be gathered from understanding your resources, how to use your resources. Don't be short-sighted. Don't beat yourself up because you're not having immediate success. Reach out to people who may have something to offer and make them part of your unofficial business development team or business growth team.
Yes, it sounds good and it's really great. And after this 5 days event, we are planning to get a 5 to 10 startups on board to work with us. So I'll try to make the financial things and the what the entire reports by sending you through WhatsApp. So it'll be easy for us to get engaged and work on for the next level. Like after this 5 days event, we'll be having an evaluation, like how many startup ideas we get and what kind of areas and sectors are there, and we'll try to post and we can have the terms. And as I said earlier, few fundraising events we are planning to do to raise some funds for the startups and to move on with the kids for their financial aspects, to start their travel to meet many business owners. It's always a part, best part in having you. And Preeti, you have any questions for our guest?
Yeah.
Basically, I have got, yeah, um, I'm not unmuted, right? Yeah, I have
Yeah,
got
Yeah.
all the answers of my questions, and my questions are more technical, so better we should take the students' question. I always prefer students' questions first because we have limited time with students. So,
Okay.
yeah, my questions are, related to core technical business questions. So later on, we can discuss with Mr. Felix. Right now, I
Yes.
want to give this complete time to the students and the faculty and management, college management. So
fine,
Very good.
sure.
all stages, all yours. I
Thank
don't
you.
want
Thank you.
to disturb anybody with their questions. And they have limited time. Every guest has different opinions. So I want them to ask so many questions so that they can have idea which one they should follow or listen,
Yes. Yes. Well, students, you just heard a magnificent representation of tact, classiness, and diplomacy. And it isn't just necessarily about selling your product, it's how you sell your service. How do you promote yourself? How do you create that attraction and the appeal just the way Pretty just did? And just the way Anand has been throughout this this session with me. I had difficulties on my end. And if you could just take a moment to appreciate the level of self-confidence, the level of diplomacy, tactfulness, and stability in who they are. They impress me as people that could sell anything to anyone and convince anyone to invest in them. So I share that with you as two living examples that it's okay to have a great business model and a great business concept, but it's not okay if you're not attractive, if you're not appealing, because being attractive is part of your product. Being appealing is part of your services. So allow me to share that with you, because I don't want to wind you all up and tell you that the world is there for your taking, because you're going to hit walls and you're not going to know why you're hitting those walls. And those walls may be your inability to communicate your intent, to be flexible. I call them the intangibility factors: to be inflexible, to be uncooperative, to be unreliable, to be undependable. Be everything that you heard and saw from Pretty just now, and everything you've heard and seen from Anand. People that you want to do business with because they're consummate professionals.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having here today. It's really great. And what's the EST time right now?
Right now, let's see. It is
I guess
12:37 in the morning.
12:37 in the morning.
But I am ready to go some more if you want me to go.
Thank you, sir. It's been really great. And I know your energy jumping out of your bed, because I've seen you, and see you soon in person. Like, we'll be taking you here, or we'll be traveling, to meet you there personally to get a lot of things, and we can do, great. And happy morning for you.
Yes. Well, if you're suggesting that our session is over, let me give a couple of takeaways to the students. One, have a plan, an idea, and a concept of what you want to do. Know where the money is going to come from to sustain you for at least 2 years. Understand that if you're going to have a product, that product is going to require resources in the way of people, and you're going to have sufficient funding to support those people. Have your business model and your marketing plan, your business plan and your marketing plan talk to each other with such clarity that the banks, if you're going to expect to receive funding from the banks, it will give you credibility that the banks will want to invest in you, or investors in America or any other part of the world would be willing to invest in you. And have commitment, have devotion, have drive, have determination, and don't quit until you can't stand it anymore. Then make the decision, because it was a legitimate decision for you to make, and not one where you squandered your resources. Thank you very much, Anand.
Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. It's been thank you.
College management persons, like, sir, are you online for the vote of thanks? Sir? Hello, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sir, Dr. Emerson, sir, I just want you to unmute your.
Yes.
Hello, you hear my voice? Hello,
Yes, sir,
please.
loud and clear.
Okay, we'll see you. Yes, sir.
Very much pleasure about this vote of thanks for this section. I very much what about this? We get the ideas from these interactions with our guests. So, very much thank about behalf of our college principal, Dr. Ramani sir, the coordinator, Mr. Anandraj, the coordinator. We are very much thank about it, your talk, sir. Thank you very much, and your interaction about this, about our students also, and we get a good entrepreneur of this business. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, Dr. Ramani sir, and Mr. Anandraj. Okay, all the students because of
Thank you.
our college. Very much thank
bet.
about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
much.
Thank you. And
My
the second session is today's evening slot. Our guest will be Mr. Ari Brush from US, Texas. It's 4:30 p.m. Indian time. So I just want all the participants to be prepared around 4 to 4:30 p.m. for our next guest. And I'm really thankful for our Felix sir. Hi, sir, and thank you. Bye-bye. See you soon.
Bye
Have
bye.
a nice day. See you, Raji.
Bye, pretty.
Take some rest.
Bye, Anna.
Bye-bye, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you
Take
so
some
much.
Bye
rest.
now. Okay,
Bye.
thanks for everything. Bye now.
Thank you. Thank you.
The area was over. Very interesting.
ஹலோ ஹலோ யூடியூப்ல போடுங்க ப்ளீஸ். ஹலோ